Hi folks, welcome to the RCR microcast, where today I'm going to be talking about plans.
Okay people, welcome to Ask the Arb microcast, helping homeowners, developers, and architects get your planning back on track by demystifying tree surveys. Your host is Matt Harmsworth, so sit back and relax and let us help you get your planning back on track.
Hi folks, so today I want to talk about plans. It's funny, I've not played that intro for a while. I forgot how cheesy and American it is, but hey, that's what we're all about here at ROAVR, the cheese. So today as we are on the run up to Christmas, and the total shitstorm that is planning system in the UK is kicking into full force at the moment. We're seeing grenades being lobbed left, right and centre at the moment. And truth be told, if you haven't got your ducks in a row, when the rubber hits the road, there's a very good chance your application is not going to get validated. And because I've been dealing with 2 or 3 projects this week, I'm in the office this week, boshing out reports, and one of the things that keeps coming up is plans, or actually a lack of them. So this came up at home actually. James, my 8-year-old son, and I, you know what they're like. They just, at that age, they desperately want to be stood next to their dad or their mum, and they want to be a part of what's going on. And we've been building a deck in the garden, and I decided, obviously being a time-served tree surgeon, I decided that the worst thing I could possibly do is use proper timber, because I know what an absolute pain in the arse it is to look after. So I thought, do you know what, we'll use composite. Now composite, I don't know if you've looked at it. I looked at a couple of suppliers, but my God, it's hellish expensive. So I thought I need to really plan this out. I need to do a drawing. I need to make sure that I get exactly the right amount of materials, not too much, not too little, because just driving a car anymore, no pickups or transits or anything like that. I need to get the materials delivered. So I sit down and I plan this all out, and James is like, "Dad, what are you doing?" I said, I'm making a plan. James, because, and I just explained, for the decking, for the materials, make sure we don't spend too much money, and all that kind of good stuff. And he goes, "But Dad, that just looks like a pretty picture." I was like, no, son, this is not a pretty picture. This is a work of art. I had the rulers out and the set squares and the protractors and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, long story short, by the time I actually get to the stage where I start building this thing, you guessed it, I end up one board short. And James, he may only be 8, but he never misses an opportunity to take the piss. And he comes wandering over. He goes, "So it was just a pretty picture then, Dad, wasn't it?" So there we go, little anecdote. But however, in my experience, most people on projects, most smaller projects, some larger ones, they put their trust in the architect, which is fine. There's a lot of really, really good architects out there. We work with a lot of architects, and they're our best friends. But they're obviously employed to only do and manage one part of the project, and that is to design your extension or your garden room or your knock down and rebuild or whatever it's going to be. And quite often the plans that they produce, they look wonderful, but they are pretty much pretty pictures. They might be accurate within themselves, but they're not geo-referenced. So what I mean by that is they're not tied into the wider environment. So quite often when you submit your plans, you'll submit the existing plans, you'll submit all the elevations, and what happens is there's quite often a block plan, a site location plan, and that will just show a very, very small version of your proposals on a much wider plan. Well, that's the drawing that we need, zoomed in much higher quality. And the reason for that is that when we go to site and pick up the tree data, we need to overlay that tree data on your proposals to create something called a tree assessment plan. And that allows us to accurately assess exactly what impact your proposals are going to have on the trees and what impact the trees are going to have on your proposals. If we don't have that information, we can't carry out the arboricultural impact assessment to a degree of sufficient quality to get past the local planning authority's tree officer. So at a very bare minimum, we're going to need the site location plan or site block plan with your proposals overlaid, at least on an ordnance survey tile. And, you know, it's a real big problem for us because quite often the plans that we get through are PDFs, and sometimes they're hand-drawn, which isn't the end of the world, but quite often it's just the proposed set within an A4 sheet on its own, not geo-referenced. There's no roads, there's nothing to tie into the project at all, and we just can't make the assessment. It's just a pretty picture. It's not an accurate plan. If we've got accurate plans based on either a topographical survey or the ordnance survey tile, preferably as an AutoCAD tile, it makes everything run much more smoothly. You'll get your report in your hand much quicker. The tree officer will be happy. We can do our assessment properly, and before you know it, you're going to be sipping that gin and tonic in your new garden room or extension, watching the sunset, and the whole process will be painless. So today, on this little short microcast, I would have you consider the possibility that if you're putting in a planning application, make sure you provide to all the consultancies involved in your project an accurate plan, geo-referenced, an OS tile as a .dwg or .dxf file, and that project will run nice and smoothly. Thanks a lot, folks. See you on the next one.